Good morning. Great that you are all here today with me to talk about HR automation and how we as a company are trying to assist you with that. Who are you dealing with today? My name is Myrthe Groothuis and I am a customer success manager here at Numbers. And my focus revolves around the business market in the Netherlands. This is not the end of my presentation, of course, but I would like to address that since I am presenting, I will not be able to see any questions you may have. This does not mean, obviously, you cannot ask any. Questions can be put in the chat, and my colleague Menno will take care of those to the best of his knowledge, and he will be assisted by Myrthe. Guys, thank you so much for helping out today. So, before we dive into today's subject, last week we have sent out a survey to all of you in order to have some sort of an interaction. I know it's not really interaction at the moment because I will do all the talking, but basically you provide me with information I am going to talk about today. The very first statement of this survey was, the organization I work for easily adapts to new technology. This was rated by you with an average of 5.1 out of 7, not out of 10 luckily, but a 5.1 out of 7, which feels to me like a small agreement on that you agree on the statement. But for everyone who responded to this statement with a grade lower than 4, I do hope that at the end of this webinar, I have been able to explain to you how you could start with small steps. Because the thing is, even though your organization might not adapt easily to new technology, at some point there has to be made a start with automating processes in order to make your work more efficient. What will we discuss today? I will give a small introduction of why we have started building the HR workflows. And for some of you, this might be a recap and have heard of this many times before. But I firmly believe that repetition is a powerful method of persuasion. And after all, I am trying to persuade you today to start using the HR workflows. After that, we will discuss some topics you have provided me with. And in conclusion, what the next steps for you could be. To introduce, what you see here is our infinity loop. And as I said, some of you probably have seen it already, an infinite amount of time. But let me explain to you why we think it's so valuable that we keep developing ourselves on the HR aspect in our product. I will give you an example of the employee journey, starting with an applicant. An applicant is in contact with your company, probably with the recruitment department. And the recruitment is on the left side of this loop, on the side of HR. The applicant is invited for an interview, and this was very successful. So he can start working for your company. And a contract should be made then also on the HR part. But of course, a new employee needs to get paid at the end of the month. And it's also very likely that he is curious about the payslip he is about to get. Which brings us to the right side of this loop at the payroll part. If you do a fast forward, 6, 7, 8 months later, his contract needs to be renewed. Back to the HR part again. If the employee excels at his job, and he get a contract renewal, there might be a raise included in his new contract, and therefore we go to the other side again, where all relevant aspects of the payroll belong. And in this way, you have within the employee journey, an infinity loop between payroll and HR. And this is also where we as Numbers think that we can add value for you. We want to make sure that The HR and payroll processes are seamlessly connected with each other, which is why we put so much energy in building and improving these HR workflows. So, what are HR workflows then, that I keep rambling about? With HR workflows, we make sure that certain tasks are put into a process which automatically follow each other up after completing the previous task. And tasks you could perform yourself, or you could let specific persons or a certain role carry out these tasks for you. And it's not just a checkbox, but they are also quite smart. So these tasks, they let you fill in a form or approve a form, apply it immediately. And those tasks from within the workflow are being assigned to someone. And then the task is generated and carried out. And what does a workflow look like? And look like nowadays, because there have been some improvements on this, where we made it clear that documents and mutation forms in a workflow are more visible. But what you see here is an active workflow of a contract renewal. You see that on the top here, if you can see my mouse, I hope so. And it's a renewal contract for the employee of Peter. When there is a document on or a form included in a workflow like this, you can see the status that it has. So the mutation form of extend this contract has already been approved, and signing the new document is on pending. From this page, you can also open them to review it if you want. In this way, it's more clear that a workflow contains certain documents. What you see next is on below with the blue popping out is the active task at the moment. So all previous tasks are already done. And now at this moment, the active task is assigned to Peter. He has to sign the contract. And also the workflow track has been added. So you see this orange loop here a bit in the middle, where it says that there are 6 steps in total. And of those 6 steps, 3 of them has already been performed. You don't have to open a specific workflow every time if you want to see the status or where it is or who needs to perform a task. You can find this in an HR workflow overview. And here you can see which one are on schedule or maybe behind schedule. And also if you are the one who need to perform a task. So that is highlighted in blue. You see with the recruit applicant, the second workflow. There is a new task, and this new task is specifically for you because it pops out in blue. Also, you can see that back below in my tasks. What do you need to do is one step of this workflow. But in this way, you stay in control because you know exactly what workflow lies with whom, which task is where, and it's so easy for you to be in control, to stay in control. That was a small introduction / recap of what the HR workflows are. I'm going to pause 1 second to give you a chance of putting a question down in the chat. Menno, are you still doing okay?
Yes, it's going very well.
Okay, perfect. Then I would like to continue with some of the output provided by you. We have asked you about what your motivations are to automate more HR tasks. And what came out of there on third, second, and first place was managing tasks in a better way, becoming part of a paperless organization, and minimizing the risk of errors. And with an 8.5 out of 10, managing tasks in a better place was, in a better way, was the third biggest motivation for you to start automating your HR tasks. Now, I have just explained briefly how an HR workflow works with all their tasks. But the beauty of these tasks is that they appear in the so-called Copilot. You can find the Copilot in your own numbers environment. Everyone has it on the right side of your screen. And this Copilot is actually always there for you. So whenever in numbers or wherever in numbers you navigate to, the Copilot sticks with you. And you can do all types of processing and do all your daily activities. And on your right, you can still see, as a helping hand actually, which tasks you still have to perform. Also, you can check them off whenever one is finished. And as I said before, that we have smart tasks. So some of these navigate you straight to the right place within numbers to carry it out immediately. So managing tasks in a better way can be done for you by simply putting your processes and tasks in HR workflows. And what you see here is the Copilot. You see on the background picture, you see it rolled in, basically showing a checkbox and an alarm bell with a 1. And what the alarm bell is basically a notification, something new we have added here. And if you click on it, the Copilot is being rolled out, in that you see in the front picture, a bit on the bottom. And then you can see that a task has been assigned to you. That is on notification. If you click on open, you go to the specific task. And we still also send out an email. But at the moment you enter your numbers environment, we think it needs to be clear for you that something needs to be done. And the notification and the action buttons can help you very easily with this. Second best motivation to start automating HR tasks was becoming part of a paperless organization. Rated with an 8.6 out of 10. And I think this is where we have many things for you. They also, becoming part of a paperless organization, also aligns very well with the question where do you see opportunities for automating? And you gave me the answer that it was basically signing and renewing documents. Well, therefore we have a little extra. When you have to create a document, such as an NDA or a contract, it's quite likely that you do this in Microsoft Office Word. And what you do is you bring numbers into Microsoft Word. What we have built is an add-on for this, downloadable by anyone free of charge, called the Numbers Template Builder. And with this template builder, you can paste numbers tokens within your document. So I'm taking a contract as an example now. You can make up an entire contract, and all the variables that you are normally typing over, such as first name, last name, home address, salary, maybe the company name as well. you put those in as a token. And then the moment you start generating this document in numbers, all that data you have put in as a token will be filled automatically. First name, last name, home address, salary, etc. That will be filled with data known in numbers. And in this way, you only have to create a certain type of document once, and you will never have to fill in all those variables anymore yourself manually. Wherefore do you generate such a type of document or contract? Most of the time, these documents are in need of a signature or multiple signatures, also possible. And we have built in numbers a digital signing tool. And in this way, there is no more need for printing, no more need for scanning, uploading, emailing, but you can just start doing this from a workflow. This document generated and filled with all necessary information ends up at the person who needs to sign this. So this could be the employee or its direct manager or it could be the HR manager, a financial controller. And in this way, this process runs through a certain flow. And in the end, it ends up in the digital file of the specific employee. You don't have to do anything for this other than starting such an HR workflow. And from there on, you can let the software work for you. And especially now with everyone working from home, these are things that make your work so much easier because you know exactly who should perform which task, what the due date is, and you can take over tasks easily if someone is absent or on a holiday. Going to pause 1 second here. And Martina, still all good?
Yes, sorry, muted was very hard to find. Yes, very good. Please,
Okay.
to everyone, please, if you have any questions, please post them in the Q&A section where Menno and I will reply on your question. If you post it in the chat part, it's hard for us to keep the overview.
That's my mistake.
No,
I said
it's
in the
fine.
beginning, I said put them in the chat.
Ah, yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah,
then.
that is very confusing. I'm sorry. Rectification. Put them in the Q&A section.
Yes, we will help you there.
Okay. Well, great. Good job, Myrthe. Great start. So perfect. Questions in the Q&A, and I will continue with the best motivation to start automating tasks, rated by you with an 8.9 out of 10, is minimizing the risk of errors. And what is very important for this one is that you get information straight from the source, because no one knows their information better than the source. In order to do so, you should let everyone work together with you within numbers. If you give all employees a login, they become responsible for their own piece of information. Hey, is anyone moving houses? Let that person be responsible for changing the information. Do they want to request a holiday? Let them do so, but within the software. And all you have to do is approve it just by the click of a button. Give everyone who needs to work with you a login. And we have made that quite easy for you to start with. But because we have created certain templates already for users, you could use these templates. So we have them for managers, for the payroll specialist, for the employee, for the financial controller, and for each login, there are different rights to it. And you can use such a template user, how we call it, straight away, or you can adjust the rights that belong to such a type of login. An example of another thing for minimizing errors is to activate and personalize HR signals. So is a birthday coming up, or is a contract about to end, or in this example, is a trial period coming up. What you can do is you put in place how many days in advance you like to be notified. This one is personalized and changed into 7 days in advance. And you can get notified by having an email coming your way, or way more efficient, start an HR workflow from here. So choose which workflow you like to start. In this way, in this example, it's the trial period, and it starts immediately 7 days before this trial period is about to end. Also, what you want to achieve with automation is that the moment you make one change somewhere in one place, it automatically changes into the next, and or in maybe all other places where it's needed to make a change. And if you use multiple software for bookkeeping, for analytics, for declaration, time registration, etc., you don't want to perform double entries. So therefore, it's crucial that those software are connected to numbers, so that all actual, if you make use for time registration, all actual worked hours are pushed into numbers, and that you know exactly which employee has to get paid what. And by connecting and integrating all software with each other, you are minimizing the risk of making an error. Why? Because you only have to enter it once. We have approximately 120 known integrations at the moment, which can be found in our app store. But also a connection can be made with our open API. And in this way, we really maintain our best of breed vision, focus on what you know best. So we focus on the payroll and HR part, and we let other software do what they know best. So, almost there. What is next is, how do you start implementing and using these HR workflows? This brings us back again to the infinity loop. And there are certain processes in place within your company regarding hiring new employees, payroll processes, what happens with contract renewals. And it is important to filter out who can do what. What is a manager allowed to do? And what is a manager allowed to see? Is it allowed to look into employee records and maybe change information from an employee? Is an employee allowed to send in forms? Who is the HR manager? Who is the payroll specialist? Do you already have processes in place for maybe one specific person? It's possible that you have someone in your company responsible for everything related to handing out laptops, key tags, work phone, lease cars, etc. This is exactly what you can use an HR workflow for. So that is step one, like identify the roles and the responsibilities that these roles have. Then we go to setting up these roles and responsibilities. But what you need is a safety net. And this needs to be in place before you start creating the HR workflows actually. And you can find it in the dashboard of roles and responsibilities. And in this way, by having a safety net, a task never remains undone or hanging in the air. And there is then always someone that receives a signal or a to-do when a person is falling out. Because if you don't fill this in, there's no safety net, and there comes a moment that a manager goes away from your firm, but still has tasks to do, then this manager no longer exists anymore. And the tasks applicable to this manager will remain unsolved. So it's really important that you put up like the HR manager and the payroll manager as a safety net to prevent tasks from literally being in the air. Next step, the roles and responsibilities are set. Then we can take a look at the system workflows. We have put workflows in the system based on conversations we have had in the past with our clients. And based on their input, we have created steps in processes and certain roles that belong with these processes. And we have specified those tasks. But of course, this is our opinion, and this was our opinion in combination with our customers. And it's very easy to start off with such a system workflow, because soon enough you will notice that somewhere in the middle of the process it can be a bit rusty. And from there on, you can copy a system workflow and make it your own. So if you copy a workflow, it means you use everything we have made in advance, and you are going to personalize this system workflow. And you can delete a task, you can add a task, you can change tasks that belong to a different role. And we hope that in this way, it's very accessible for you to start using HR workflows. You see on the right side of my screen some blue and some gray buttons. That means that you can activate and deactivate them. So if you don't want to use them, you deactivate them. If you want to use them, you activate them. Then we're going to zoom in a little bit further. So now we are in the workflow of recruit the applicant. And this can be started from an employee homepage. And at the HR workflow assignee, you specify the responsible person for this workflow. And here you can also choose already the specific user. So again, taking the example of an employee in your firm responsible for all the benefits, such as laptop, work phone, a lease car, key tags. With this, you can make sure all workflows that belong to those benefits go to that specific person. And that specific employee is now also the responsible person for those workflows. Zooming in even further, we are going into the task itself now. Which task in this workflow needs to be done by whom? What you see on the left side is they all follow each other up after the previous task is done. And then who is responsible for that specific task? So not the responsible person for the entire workflow, but just for the task. Who needs to fill a contract? Who needs to sign the contract? For all those tasks, we have roles to assign. And you can choose them from the assignee role. So do the tasks need to be performed by its direct manager? Then you choose the assignee role manager. Does it need to be done by the payroll manager? Then you assign it to the payroll manager. So, and then in the end, how do you take care of all your processes together? How do you make sure all of them are seamlessly connected? Herefore, you can link workflows to each other. Most of the time this is when you have to make a decision. We use that a decision task as well. We call it a decision task as well. And in this example, what you see is a workflow for an applicant. And the last task of that workflow is decide to start the hire applicant, or, and then it falls off, but I know what it says, or reject the applicant. So here you have to make a decision. So are you going to hire or reject this candidate? And in this last step, you can choose what are you going to do, hire or reject, and you can select this, and then immediately the next workflow starts. And in this way, you can keep all your processes short, and so you don't get like 25 steps in one workflow, but you keep them short, and you can combine them and link them all together. Next to the now you see that you choose either the hire applicant workflow or the reject applicant workflow, because it's a decision you have to make and you cannot choose both. But you also see next to or that there is an and, because for example, if you start the hire the applicant, it becomes an employee, and then you want to give him, at the end of the hire applicant workflow, you want to let him choose whether he wants to make use of a lease car, whether he needs to get a key tag, whether he needs to get a phone from the office, and then you can choose and then it will select for you start lease car workflow, start key tag workflow, start work phone. And then you can select out of those which one you want to start. And again, so then it's linked all together. Well, and that was me in approximately 30 minutes going through the HR workflows and how you can start automating. If this was maybe too much information all in once, the webinar is recorded, so you can see it back in a later stage. Also, if you think like, okay, for me, these are two big steps to start all in once, then what would be the easiest workflow for you to start with is the document signing one. It's 3 steps only. You send out a document, it needs a signature and it needs a second signature. And from there on, you can try out a bit how it works with these flows. How does it follow up? Who do I need to assist, or who needs to assist me? And of course, if you need any more information, you can always reach out to me. I want to go back to Menno and Martina. How is it going with the questions?
Yeah, we received a lot of questions.
Okay.
Very enthusiastic people. Yeah, Martina, do you think there's still a question we can answer in live? Or
Maybe. Let's see what else we got. There are some wishes in there which are a bit hard to react on now, so we will definitely react on them, but we will, reply on them later.
Mm-hmm.
There is a question to maybe show a bit more about how the template builder works. I don't know if that's possible at the moment or if we can also come back on that later because we have a lot of documentation about it. Putting you in a hard
Do you
position.
have it, Myrthe, by accident?
Yeah,
The Word template builder?
Yeah, I do have it, but let me see. Then I have to.
And we can give a quick view.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I will leave my presentation. Am I still with you? Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Okay, good. But then I hope my settings are in English.
Yeah, you can
Yes.
switch that also. Yeah.
They are. Okay, I will just show you briefly. I will take a blank document. Wait, share my screen again. I will take a blank document. Where you have to go. This is our numbers template builder, and this is downloadable in the numbers store. Of in the number store, in the word store, I'm sorry. And what you can do here is you create a document or you put in a document you already have. So hereby I declare that, and what you then do is you insert tokens. So what I want is I want that my company name shows up here. Is now, etc. And let me see. So what you need is oh yeah, okay, so here. So if you need for a new contractor, you need all his data. So what you normally put in is first name and then probably last name. Will start working with us from, and then let's see, contract start date. So you have on your right side, you see all sorts of tokens based on a person or based on your company. And so by putting constantly all these tokens in here, those tokens will be filled by information that has provided within numbers if you generate the document within numbers. Is this a little bit clear?
I think so.
That doesn't count, Menno.
Oh.
Don't see any questions coming in yet.
Okay.
Oh, we have one comment. Patricia thinks it's very clear.
Oh, well, that's great.
Yes.
Okay, Doug, what shall we do then? Because my presentation is up. If there are still some questions left, we can remain a couple of minutes in this webinar to answer them. And other than this,
yes,
I think.
Yeah, what we can do is we'll just make sure that everybody who has an open question now, we will try to contact them via the email. And I think then we have to just close this webinar for now. I think maybe to conclude, Myrthe, do we have documentation where people can also check how to start with HR workflows, how to do all this?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have at our support page, we have, I think we have it, right, Martina, you wrote it in 6 easy steps for both business and accountants.
And in English and in Dutch.
And in English and in Dutch.
Yes.
So you can have 6 easy steps. It's basically also a recap of the next steps I mentioned on how to start, where to start, with whom to start. So yeah.
All right, yeah, perfect. And next that we also have online trainings, and yeah, we'll send a survey after this email with more information. And then I think thank you, Myrthe, for this wonderful presentation.
Well, thank you. Okay, and then thanks everyone for listening. And any questions left, we will get back to you.